Hello and welcome to another episode of It Was Mooney, your source for all things movie, streaming, and pop culture related. I'm your host Kosi, and I'm joined always by Wani B, and got a classic two-man episode. Salute.
Classic two-man, baby.
Salute, brother.
Nice and simple.
Like the good old days. Oh man.
Like the good old days where we had awesome guests.
Yeah, and like not like this. So I guess the good old days also is kind of on point today because we're reviewing the movie Sinners, about the 1930s post-slavery Jim Crow era. I think blues musical is a crazy genre bend of a movie.
It's an interesting genre. It's like a bits period piece.
Yes.
Bits horror movie. Bits musical, bits biopic, almost.
Yeah, I think director Ryan Coogler described it as a genre fluid, and boy, he was definitely correct on that. A lot of fluid in this movie too.
We'll a lot of fluids in this. We'll get into it in our review.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to drop our review for this movie. As per usual, we will go over the plot beats, kind of go over the major scenes, give our thoughts on the movie as we go, give our final thoughts on what we liked and didn't like, and I think that's how it's going to go.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Joe. So to start off, this movie... Again, genre fluid. Definitely has to be the best word to describe it. It starts off like a classic horror movie.
Most definitely, yeah.
You see a scene in a church, right? Old school 1930s, dirty South. Mississippi, cotton fields nearby. Very rustic is the word for it. Obviously, you know the racial history. Everybody, but there's a lot of racial history involved there.
Yeah, what I loved a lot about just even the opening, just Coogler knows how to get you invested and involved in all his movies, but just the way he does with lighting, just the way he does with just camera work and camera angling, and just cinematography. I remember this, again, should be seen in IMAX, and it's definitely used to a very, very effective degree. And yeah, just opening, just seeing Sammie walk up to that big white church, it looks so imposing, seeing the scar on his face. Again, Coogler is just showing us and not really, he's telling us a story already just without even using words. It's just amazing just in that opening sequence of when Sammie comes to the church.
Absolutely. On top of that, you get a very important visual. He's holding a broken guitar, a broken guitar neck. Now that's important because the prelude to the movie gives us basically a history of shaman-like figures who used basically powerful music, so powerful that they could call the spirits not only of their ancestors, but of their descendants.
Yeah.
Past, present, and future all come together to celebrate and enjoy this music.
Yeah.
And they talked about, voodoo and shamans and different folks who embodied this kind of magical music aspect.
Yeah.
Right?
Across different cultures, going to Native American, going even to Irish, and now and even going back to African cultures, they all had this connection with music, and music was a way to conjure, bring healing, but also said it can definitely be a beacon and a lightning rod for evil and just people with bad intentions. And I love how they use that.
It's a beacon for all.
Yeah,
right?
Beacon for all. Yeah,
it joins the good spirits of our good ancestors, but also the bad ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So, between that prelude and him walking in with the guitar, the scars on his face, a few jump scare cuts.
Really great jump scares of our villain.
We see, horrifying screams and villainous kind of moments. We just see glimpses.
Yeah, you see Remick.
Right?
Definitely see
But it tells the story of, something went wrong with the music. Right?
Yeah.
Something happened something was called forth, and this guitar seems to be at the center of it.
And his father, being the preacher, his father would tell him, "Hey, if you like," he always he attributed his son, who was a church going boy, but going and playing these blues halls with people that are smoking, people that are breaking the law, with saying, "Hey, you dance with the devil, or you interact with the devil, he'll follow you home." And in a way, his dad didn't know about the other stuff, but like he kind of said in a way, like you keep hanging around these people, you're going to get involved in some really, really wild shit eventually. And yeah, he kind of warned our hero early on in the movie, and that was just great.
Absolutely. We do have a flashback to one day too when that happens, right? Yeah. One day before the church scene that opens the movie. So obviously we see that it's gone poorly for everybody between now and then. So we see, the scene with the preacher trying to get his son to leave the blues, tell him it's, the devil's music.
Yeah, put down the guitar, son.
Yeah, put down the guitar, pick up the
Bible,
the cross, join. He's even called Preacher Boy. That's his nickname in the movie.
Yeah.
What was the actor's name again?
Let me see his name. Miles Caton. This is his first ever role.
Yes, first ever role. Beautiful singing voice, as we'll see.
Oh, yes.
Definitely brought in for his musical talents, although he definitely held his own on the acting.
Yeah. I described him as a lot subdued, but I could have actually, I wanted more out of his performance, but I had no problem with it. I think he definitely served his role. I
think there's a reason why they don't show him on the posters as hard, and they don't put him on as much of the advertising. He does well for his role, but he's definitely brought in to be a singer primarily, and just be a passable actor as opposed to a great one.
Yeah.
But so we see, go back to the day before, and then we open up very quickly on a scene with the two Michael B. Jordans.
Oh yeah, look, two Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, any way you want to put it. I love this opening scene because, again, even in the marketing, we're always thinking, okay, how will they do this Parent Trap like magic trick where they get us to see two actors in the same shot? And early on, they wanted to say, "Hey, we can do this, and here's how we're going to do it." And they definitely go for it with introducing the two of our twins here.
They introduce them together. Most of the movie, really, they play off of each other.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's a more difficult performance than, say, Parent Trap, where they're separated for a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah, true.
But no, we see them open up. They're buying a big sawdust mill, I think.
Abandoned sawdust mill. They're buying it from a local purveyor of land.
Yeah, local landlord, businessman, landowner, I guess.
Local asshole, I'd like to put it.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a racist, but he makes some noise. Yeah, about how the KKK is gone and he's happy to take their money.
Wasn't that hilarious? He's like, "Oh, yeah," because all right. So Smoke and Stack are the twins' names, played by Michael Jordan.
Smokestack.
Yeah, and like they warn him, like, "Hey, if you're racist, buddies come around here, we're gonna shoot him dead." He's like, "Oh, come on, guys, come on, the Klan's not stop doing that." And we all know that. Even today in 2025, we're like, yeah, right, like eye roll. But it was funny to hear him say that to them back in that time period.
Absolutely. So they buy this mill, and they decide their plan is they're going to turn it into a juke joint.
Yep.
Right. Get some music going. Get a party joint going.
Good come up.
They seem to have gotten some money. Movie never gives us full details.
Working for Capone, they're saying.
They were working for Capone. They seem to have ripped off some gangsters.
Yeah, they definitely fucked somebody over for all that liquor.
They fucked over some Irish gangsters in particular because they got Irish beer. The movie doesn't fully go into the details, and it kind of drops that thread off a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where they come in, and they they are cool, right? That's the easiest way I can put it.
Cool cats. Even Smoke is more the subdued and calm one. Stack is the flashy one. But again, even as he rolls, he basically rolled the cigarette for his brother, handed to him without even looking. The brother Smoke just grabs it, lights it, like as if they've been doing that forever, obviously. But again, just showing how Smoke is the one that's on time, on by the book, but Stack is more like laid back, whatever.
Got that gold grill.
The grill was amazing. The hat, like Smoke
for
with
a
the
period
hat,
piece, the movie is definitely more anachronistic.
Definitely anachronistic
than most period pieces. They don't talk Like they're, they do have a southern, like heavy southern accent.
Definitely have the accents down,
right? But they don't have a particularly, they don't talk like people from 100 years ago.
Well, I think
they
again,
talk pretty modern.
Yeah, when Juan says modern, they're not saying like straight up like 2025 ism. No. But they're talking in ways that they're not talking like typical like slave talk. You'll see it like another director would have had them sounding like.
You're not going to see some, what do you call it?
Song of the
Gone
South.
with the Wind.
Song of the
Gone
South.
with the Wind type black folks.
None of that bullshit.
There's not going to be some mammy type speak in here. You know?
There's like dignity and like a lot of respect given to these characters. Yes, they're gangsters, but no, they're free men, and they have a certain aura about them that Coogler definitely tapped into.
Absolutely, and of course, Michael B. Jordan, being the actor that he is, helps.
So cool.
Sell that. Absolutely, he does a great job being two different brothers. We're obviously very tied together and similar in some ways, but he does a great job of, even when they're in the same scene together, making them distinct, making it clear that their personalities differ. You never really get confused as to which is which or get too lost. It's the visual aspect, but as well as the acting and the character aspect.
Yeah, even like from this visual effects CGI standpoint, having two people be in the same shot, it looks seamless. You never once thought I wasn't like I was looking for like whatever, but no, you really did think they just straight up cloned Michael B. Jordan and had him act off of himself. So
definitely easy to forget.
Oh yeah.
So at this point, they got the juke joint bought, and they decide, hey, we're gonna have a party tonight.
Yeah, immediately. Like, fuck that.
We're not gonna, mess around. Blah blah blah. No. Fuck it. We're gonna celebrate. We just bought this. We got our money. It's time to have a good time. Right. So they start, almost like a heist movie, get into gang together.
Assembling the crew. I love this.
They get their cousin, Preacher Boy.
Yep.
Right, they just pick him up. They don't even realize he got the guitar that they gave him, but they don't even realize how good he is at that. That
was actually really cool. I think it's a lot of storytelling without exposition. They probably gave that to him and then just kind of forgot about it to go on their adventures, and now they're like, oh, Lil Sammie still has that guitar. Okay, yeah.
I don't think they forgot they gave him the guitar, but I don't think they realized like, this guy is going to be because you find out it's a special guitar for them later on in the movie. They tell him it's like some musician's guitar, but you can clearly tell they gave it to him with love.
There's a definite connection they have to that specific guitar.
Yes. So he joins the crew, and then they split up. What do you call it? Stack goes with
Sammie into town.
With Sammie into town to pick up more players, and Smoke goes off to find what we found out is his ex-lover, wife.
Yep, Annie. Right. So Stack goes into town, and we see basically him pick up a whole crew of musicians. It's pretty cool,
right? Who's the first guy? The harmonica guy, Slim.
Let me make sure I got his character right. Delta Slim. Played by Delroy Lindo. Incredible
he
actor.
did an absolutely incredible job of being an old kind of hardened blues musician.
Super drunk, but like
super charismatic, very alcoholic, like comically alcoholic.
Like seriously, it's a lot of the big hilarious comedic moments in the movie were from Delta Slim.
Yes.
I
loved his performance in this. So they pick him up. They pick up this girl, Pearline, I think her name is?
Pearline.
Pearline. She's supposed to be a married woman.
Supposed to be.
We never really see her husband. And she immediately, starts making googly eyes at Preacher Boy when she hears him play. Pretty much everybody starts giving him googly eyes once they hear him play. He's an amazing player and an amazing singer.
I love how, again, they really could have been kind of hacky with this, showing that Sammie really has almost a mutant ability, his music, to bring people together and almost like put you in almost not like a trance, but just have you focused on him. I love how they did all this subtly, but still using great music and singing by the actor.
Definitely. No, he does a great job of bringing that music to life in the movie. Centerpiece in a lot of ways of the movie, almost for that reason.
Yeah.
Right. It's in many ways it's the Twins movies, the Michael B. Jordan's movies, but the Preacher Boy kind of comes off as the protagonist for a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah, he is he's the protagonist, meaning like
more like the audience stand-in.
Yeah, like because we're seeing it through his eyes, but the story itself is about Smoke and Stack.
Yes.
So yeah,
and I mean they're the more magnetic,
of course,
couple.
Of course.
So while they're out there, we also introduced Haley Steinfeld's character, Mary.
Little Mary.
So it turns out
that's a little no more.
She was she had a romantic thing going with Stack.
Yeah, Stack and her had a thing
before Stack had basically at one point told her, and it makes sense because she's white and he's black. He basically at one point told her, "Hey, look, I can't love you. I can't do this. I'm going off to Chicago," and just kind of abandoned her.
Yeah,
she has a great line about that too. It's like, "Yeah, you did tell me that, and then you stuck on my coos and fucked me so hard I thought you changed your mind."
And I was very, very appalled at Haley Steinfeld, also known as Gwen Stacy. I was like, "What? How dare you?" But no, I loved how she was. It's that whole thing. It's that whole trope of I've been away and I've left someone back home, and I kind of thought I was leaving all my stuff behind. But you come back home and your stuff's waiting for you right when you get there. And she reminded Stack, because Stack and Smoke, that Mary's mother took them in and took care of them when they had nothing. And she buried her mother earlier, and she was really pissed off about it.
We also find out that Mary is, I think, a fourth black.
Yeah, quarter black. Yeah.
Quarter black, and this was back when, if you know the history of it,
it
was the one drop rule. So no matter how white she looked, the second somebody found out she had black blood in her, she would have been treated like a black person. She would have been probably even treated worse than some other black people.
Almost like a traitor.
Like a race traitor.
Yeah,
like a abomination.
Yeah, so she held that kind of like shunning from the neighborhood, but also the shunning she felt from Stack just leaving her and abandoning her.
And that's why all the black folks have this kind relationship with her, because her and her mom obviously had a much kinder relationship.
Of course, they were family.
More familial relationship with the black community than most other white folks. So she's the main good white character we end up seeing in this movie. And then she ends up finding a way to tag. She doesn't really tag along with them, but she ends up finding a way to get to the party regardless.
Yeah, it's a big party. Everyone in town knows about it. So she knows the guys that are throwing
it. They're inviting everybody. They're getting the crews specifically, but they're inviting everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
All the black folks at least.
Yeah.
So at that point, we go over to Smoke, and we see his reunion with his, I guess, ex-wife. We're not entirely sure what the specifics of the relationship
are. They're together,
but they had a kid together.
Very emotionally.
They obviously love each other. She's some kind of voodoo.
Yeah.
Voodoo.
They call her a witch, but, she's a seer. Some people like to put it in many cultures. So, yeah. She
has some voodoo aspects, right? She gave some kind of protection charm to Stack and Smoke.
Mojo bag.
It wasn't enough to save her kid, as Smoke very cruelly points out.
That scene in particular, because it's a reunion. You can really tell that Smoke, it hurt just walking in there, but he got those flowers. He got those flowers from Grace to give to Annie, and you could definitely see as he's talking to her, all the history, all the pain, all the doubt, he's like, I've been around the world. I've seen men die in ways I didn't know that was possible. Like, he's a World War I vet, but losing a child, it hits worse than losing any comrade in battle, anything, any kind of shrapnel hitting you. So you can definitely, you saw the pain, but also you saw Annie just being the good woman she is, still watching over him, being there for him, and being that comfort you can come home to. And I just love their relationship.
Absolutely. They do make love. Right
yes, they do.
And then she agrees to make food
to cook
for the juke joint that night.
Yeah.
So getting more of the crew together.
Oh, you forgot the other part of the crew, Grace and Bo. They went to that cool one-shot sequence.
That's true. Yeah. There is an also cool one-shot where they get this Chinese couple.
Yeah.
They work these two separate stores, general stores, with their daughter.
Yeah.
And they basically ask them to
make the sign,
and
give them catfish. They have their
and do provide some of the food and the particulars for the party, right? Yeah. So they help provide for the party, and when they're there, they almost serve as additional helpers.
Yeah,
right. They're helping set up the party and everything.
It's one big family. I love that seeing them get this crew together. You can see it alluded to past relationships, how they're bond, and then how they work as one big unit. It's kind of really cool to see how that played out. In
And
this
the
first
last
half.
guy we pick up, and I think it was Smoke that picks him up, right?
No,
Cornbread.
No, it's Stack picks up Cornbread.
Stack also picks up Cornbread. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, they pick up Cornbread, who's
That was
this
hilarious scene.
field hand in a sharecropping situation.
The muscle.
He's the muscle, and yeah, they just pick. This movie has a lot of fun. moments.
Hilarious. He's like Stack, like, hey, what's up? And then he's like, hey, he told him, get out of here, Stack. He's like, well, fuck you too. He's like, my wife is here. Well, fuck your wife too. And he's like, what? It's just, again, these are
And then
hilarious.
his wife tells him to go off with him because he's offering good money.
It's a good woman right there. Why?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, don't put up with this bullshit, man. We gotta get this money. No, man, she understands. She gets the hustle.
It felt real. It
Yeah.
felt like a real conversation between guys that go way back and a guy that's coming back that's always coming in with a get rich quick scheme. It felt genuine in that whole encounter.
Absolutely. So yeah, no. At that point, one last introduction we get is to one of the main. I don't know if villain is the right word. Antagonist.
Yeah.
Might be a better word. Remick.
Good old Remick.
We get hints right away. The movie doesn't necessarily reveal it instantly, but we get some clear hints that he's a vampire.
Something's not right with him.
Right. The first scene we see him in, his skin is burning
and boiled.
and like literally boiling. Like smoke is coming off of him.
It was great. Also great makeup effects too. I want to say great,
Yes.
like gore and makeup later on, but you definitely get a glimpse of how good this stuff looks just early on with his scarring and on his eye and face and whatnot.
Absolutely. So they go in. He manages to find some couple. He's on the run from folks.
Choctaw.
The Choctaw
Vampire
hunters. Some
Awesome
Native
guys.
American vampire hunters.
They look awesome.
And he finds this couple to invite him in the house. Because, I mean, they're racist, and we find out they're KKK members.
Yeah, straight up show that.
So when he tells them, oh, some Indians are chasing me, he's like, oh, of course, Indians are evil.
Holy, wait here, let's get our gun. We'll
Yeah,
help you.
the woke people. But, they hated woke back then, too.
Still.
So the Choctaw dudes show up, and really badass, riding horses and everything, very serious looking. And they tell this lady, it's like, hey, you didn't see anybody passing by, did you? It's like, you better not have let him in your
I
house.
hope you didn't let him in.
Like, Jesus Christ, please tell me you didn't let him in your house. Oh, my God.
Like, he wanted to say that, but he kept it cool
Yeah.
and calm and collected. Like,
Yeah, but you could tell in his eyes, like, oh, my God.
I hope she didn't
this
just do
dumb
this.
bitch.
This Karen.
This Karen just let this guy in their house. Oh, my God, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so at this point, the sun's starting to come down.
His friend was like, "Hey, buddy, TikTok, bro."
Time to head out, and they just bounce.
did bow out.
They don't like try. They don't. There's no like drama in it. It's like, oh, we ain't fighting this guy.
He's like, "God bless you. Have
we
fun."
are not fighting this dude at night. Y'all didn't want to help. All right, later, y'all.
And they ride out of the movie one. They
never come back.
They don't come back.
They never come back.
It's
It's
pretty
just
hilarious.
kind of. Yeah, it's a little bit of a loose plot thread there. Most movies would have done something with them.
At least some, but yeah, our
Yeah, it
Choctaw
might have been a
friends
little
leave.
bit of a trope, but it did feel a little bit haphazard.
There's always a trope in just horror movies where there's like a harbinger or someone that tells our main characters, "Hey," or somebody, "Hey, there is imminent danger."
Yeah, but then
and
in
they
like
don't-
near the climax, that same harbinger will come back and be like, "Here's how you defeat
in some kind of
the
way,
evil villain,"
or
know
you
what I
see
mean?
them in some kind of way.
Or they like provide some kind of aid to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
protagonist. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like the end of the world, but it is funny that they never came back.
In a way, those Choctaw, what they're kind of giving aid, Annie kind of served that purpose of like her knowledge of just spooky stuff, I call it, kind of helped with like stuff later on. But like, yeah, it was one of those threads that I definitely wanted to see them.
Yeah, it did
do
help
something.
establish that this guy was scary. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one thing. It did help establish the character of Remick as a bad motherfucker you did not want to mess with.
That was an effective scene though. After like the
They did
Choctaw
not
leave,
even try to fight him once they lost the advantage of the sun.
Yep.
You know? They were not interested whatsoever. And then, Remick bites the husband and the wife and turns them into vampires right
Yeah.
away. Obviously, as we saw coming.
of course.
One thing is that
yeah.
they do turn everybody. They never like kill, like completely destroy
Yeah.
any of the humans. Everybody they like eat. or whatever, they turn into a vampire. So that was kind of neat, I guess.
That was a new one. Usually they a lot of times they'll kill and whatnot.
It's like a mix,
yeah.
right? Sometimes they feed, sometimes they just brutally kill them.
Yeah, but Remick was all about, no, let's make our family bigger and turn these people. Yeah.
Yes. So at this point, we got the crew set. We start the main party, which is where the bulk of the movie takes place.
It is jumping.
The juke joint is set up. They got the sign going. They got the catfish going.
on the grill.
They got Cornbread as the bouncer.
Yep.
They got some music.
Cornbread threatening people for over $2.
Yeah, that shit was funny. Man, that movie was funny, man. That's a movie that is so much more enjoyable to watch in theaters with a big crowd.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's just the energy of the crowd, the laughter, when the music starts up, the cheering. It just adds an extra element that you cannot get, watching at home on a streaming service or even watching in an empty theater. Yeah. There's something about watching this when one of the first. We watched it on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And it was still jam packed because the word of mouth in this is so strong.
And it was one of those where you definitely, Coogler had a way of making you feel like you were in that juke joint. Like sitting there, we're surrounded by other people that were there, but it kind of made all of us this whole collective experience. Again, that's what music does. Again, the whole theme of the movie is it brings people together, good and bad. But I love how even us watching the theaters, it brought us all together in that way, which is really cool.
Again, the movie is based a lot on just the vibe of you're at this place, having a good time with them, listening to this music. That's enough. That's enough. You know what I mean? It's not something where you need a whole bunch of hijinks and drama like some other movies. Obviously, there's some drama and some stuff going on.
There's drama and hijinks in this movie, I have to admit, but yeah.
But the main focus is like, hey, what if we just had these folks in the South that never get to enjoy their life, these sharecroppers and these town folks, many of whom recently remember slavery.
Like it was like 30 years ago.
Parents recently remember slavery.
Yeah.
And, we're gonna give them a night to be free, to have fun, to enjoy themselves, to be themselves.
Yeah. That's what Stack's doing. But Smoke is like, hey, let's make this money, because Smoke knows power, and Smoke knows in order to get power, you need money. So Smoke is seeing this as a business venture, but Stack is like, hey, this is the party. And again, I like how there's these dueling ideologies between the brothers.
There's that contrast. Yeah. Stack wants to be nice and say, hey, we can't be turning people away because it'll kill the vibe.
Yeah,
whereas Smoke's like, hey, man, these guys are showing up with wooden shareholder nickels.
They're not paying their whole tab.
Ryan Coogler shows off, his historical knowledge here, for sure. Between the fact that, going into details of sharecropper money, right, and the bullshit type of company town type script that these people got paid in.
Yeah, it wasn't the same as actual USA currency. It was a different kind of on wood. It was
literally, or crappy bills on random paper.
It was really insulting. Even you guys can even go and put this on actual metal. No, we're gonna put this on wood.
It's a script or random banknotes. It was before it was a strong central banking system. Frankly, a lot of things worked that way.
Yeah.
But apparently, especially for black folks, they were even on a lower level down, where they were just it's just company town type nonsense.
Right.
Whereas, hey, we'll pay you in something that you can only use at our stores.
Vouchers, or this voucher here.
Yeah, we'll sell you, and then we'll just jack up the prices whenever we want, and you have nothing else you can do because you have no real money.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, so it's a fucked up system. There's a reason why it's illegal these days.
Yeah.
Until crypto came along, I guess. But we'll get into that theme another day. Another theme another day. So at this point, the party's bumping. Only kind of real drama is that Smoke knows he's not quite getting as much money as he needs.
Yep.
And that he's going to start running. They're going to start running out of money if they can't get more real cash. Right.
Which I guess I could see his apprehension, but it was a well-attended place, and Dave made the point. Stack even said, "Hey, not everyone's going to be doing what that. Not everyone's going to be coming in with wooden coins. They're going to have straight up hard-earned cash they're trying to spend." But it speaks to the character that Smoke is always thinking. He's always thinking ahead, always thinking, "Okay, how's it going to work out?" So any little thing that'll push them off that track, he wasn't about it at all. So yeah, I love that.
So at this point, the movie kicks off into one of its more iconic sequences.
Does it really?
Basically, song. Preacher Boy starts playing his music. Song called "I Lied to You."
I Lied to You. Yes.
I Lied to You. Blues song. Most of the music in this movie is blues.
Yeah.
Not everything, but most of it is blues. And then here's where we get the promise from the prelude, where the song is so hot. He's playing so well. Everybody is so into what's happening, right? It's like drawing people together. It's getting them to dance.
Everyone's dancing.
It's
Everyone's
getting them
moving.
to feel liberated, happy, just pure communal joy.
It puts him in a
at this
trance
experience.
of like just in
This
this
live
vibe.
music,
Yeah.
and this particularly great live music,
Yeah.
has a way of transfixing an entire audience and making them move and feel together. That's just beautiful to experience. And so this movie takes it to an extra level, where it's like, hey, it's not just gonna be him entertaining and making music so good that the attendees,
The physical
are bumping and
world,
grinding.
yeah.
Now we're gonna get the ancestors,
To the metaphysical,
the,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
descendants, the future musicians. We're gonna get a George Clinton,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
Bootsy
We're
Collins
gonna get
reference.
twerkers, a Bootsy Collins. We're gonna
Jam
get
Master Jay on
Jam
the-
Master
on the
Jay.
record scratch.
We're gonna see the same melody played with a hip hop, old school
African drum, West African masquerade. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see some G funk
Mm-hmm.
layered into it. We're gonna see electric guitar. We're gonna see these different eras of music, and basically everyone coming together as if to celebrate, this moment of joy and freedom. Right?
Yeah.
Is to draw like a symbolic through line between the blues artists of the 30s, the funk artists of the 60s and 70s, the rap artists of the 80s and 90s. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely was a highlight of the movie. Just, again, I think it could have, even watching it could have been goofy. Because, seeing the George Clinton guy next to Sammie in like a 1930s getup, seeing, Bloods and Crips, Crip walking and dancing, throwing dice, like all that could have been hokey. But what Coogler did was he was able to meld this in such a way to show not just just the connection of how that music in the 30s, the same way that Sammie was making that juke joint bump in 32, we go to 92, we'll have, someone on the record scratch in the same way, just getting the crowd hyped. So just that through line and the connection of music, how the ripples that you'll feel throughout time. And again, as I'm saying, like that juke joint became a beacon of just togetherness and love, and almost like a saying, "Hey, everyone, come get good vibes here." But again, as we're seeing after this whole thing, it becomes a beacon for something a lot more sinister. But before that, this was such an incredible sequence,
And especially
Yeah.
the setting of it.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
down south in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen cotton fields. We've seen sharecroppers. We've seen folks who don't have much. Just to give them this moment of pure liberation, joy, community.
Real freedom.
That's just theirs.
for them too.
Right,
Just
just
for
for them. For us by us. I think they drop a for
For
us
Us
by
By
us
Us, definitely,
reference
yeah.
early in the movie, right? Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
I love that. But it's all intentional,
Yep.
right? He's trying to celebrate the Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are trying to celebrate this culture that they love and are part of, even amidst the immense pain and hatred of the folks around them who hate the fact that they're just having fun.
Yeah, and they hate the fact that they're having fun and making something that's theirs. You can't come into this. This is ours. And again, it kind of goes to stuff like in history, like Tulsa. That was Black Wall Street. These black people came and built this up on their own, and they were firebombed out of existence. And it just, again, shows how these beacons that black people have made of music or commerce or just of everything, arts in general, become a beacon of not just good but also bad. And this kind of showed, like, what if the neighbors that came over to these establishments, what if they were of supernatural type nature?
Yeah, so at this point, Remick and the two other vampires he's turned show up. They've been drawn by the music.
Like fireflies.
They love it. You can't blame them, quite frankly.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's
Cannot blame them.
It's a bop.
And Remick, at this point, I don't think it's fully established, but he's an Irish dude.
Yeah, yes.
Right. So it's a different vibe with him than just a normal white guy, as we'll see shortly.
Yeah.
But basically, they show up and they like, hey, we want to come in. We want to play some music. We want to spend our money. We want to drink and have a good time with y'all. Mm-hmm. Right. Something along the lines of just being family and having a good time. Yeah. And then to convince them, I think there's a great thing. They play a song, "Pick Poor Robin Clean." Pick Poor Robin Clean. They play this blues song, and it's fantastic. That shit will stick in your mind like long after the movie ends.
It's an earworm of a song, and for the theatrical experience, folks were like kind of chuckling. At first, we're laughing, but then they kind of won the crowd over a little bit at the end. And our characters like, hey, these guys are pretty good.
I first think it's goofy. Okay, what are these three random white dudes gonna start? Just gonna impress these black folks, and even the characters are like, all right, well,
gotta give it to them.
Shit, I mean, maybe we can let them in. I mean, they're not bad.
Bro, it almost worked, man. They almost got him in.
They're not bad, brother. It's like, damn, almost got him in. And Cornbread is like, shit, man. I mean, they know what they're doing. But yeah, man. So we see that scene, but they're not allowed in. Obviously, we know it hasn't been fully established at this point, but we know that they need an actual invitation to be able to cross the door.
That was really funny. How like Remy was like, "Oh, you're not gonna let us in because," and he points to the color of his skin. Again, it's a lot of like layered things going on in there where a lot of layered things where they couldn't let them in because of the color of their skin. Like, yeah, this is for black people, but they were like, they know they can't be let in because if they let them in, they're letting in vampires. It's that whole little dance of like battle of the minds.
Vampires. Part of the fear at this point is that they'll see Haley Steinfeld. Mm-hmm. And they'll notice, it's like, hey, why is this white girl hanging out here?
Bring the clan with them.
And they'll figure out that she's part black, right? Because she's the only white girl there.
It'll definitely stick out.
So it's like, okay, if they see her, and also it's kind of a vibe of like, hey, it's not even like we necessarily hate you, but it's like, this is our party, bitch. We're not.
Yeah, you weren't invited.
We're not trying to like
be racist.
We're not trying to hate on y'all, but this ain't about y'all. This ain't y'all's night.
Like, why can't we have this just for one night?
And I mean, to be fair, they're more like, they actually have a nice plea to it. Say, hey, why don't we have a night of equality and family? And you find out they don't totally. They almost kind of mean it. In their own way, they mean it.
Their own messed up way, they mean it.
And it's symbolic, I think, in some ways, where it's like, it's well-intentioned white folks, right?
Yeah, those well-intentioned white folks that kind of like the let's all come together can also, in a way, kind of be dangerous in their own kind of way. And this movie kind of highlighted that too. Like, you can't really trust them either because they're trying to wipe you out as well.
It's complicated.
It's layered. It's complicated. Yes.
They don't come off as entirely villains, right? The vampires. By the end of the movie, you almost like think like, hey, why wouldn't I want to be a vampire?
Kind of rules, right?
Yeah, other than like the lack of sun. This is like seems like a pretty damn good deal.
Gotta just drink blood all the time, but no, it's a party.
Yeah, it's like, it seems pretty chill overall. But I gotta be invited to shit.
Damn Remick making it sound kind of cool.
Yeah, and they're like a family and shit. They're like
sounds
hanging
like
out.
A vibe. Yeah.
But yeah, so they don't get let in, and at this point, they kind of keep trying to have the party, some more good music. We see Pearline.
Pearline gets up there. Yeah. She has a great musical number too.
Yeah, no, she does another great musical. And then we see basically Smoke gets so worried about the money that Haley Steinfeld goes up to him and tells him, "Hey, look, I'm white. Let me go talk to these white folks.
Yeah, I'll be your
and let's see if they're chill. Let's see if they got a good vibe. And they'll have real money because they're not like they're white. They get actual real money. So." We'll bring them in, and if they're chill, and we'll get some money.
It's actually not a bad plan. She understands her role in this situation, how she can be of help, and she wants to help them, and like they don't know about the imminent threat, but I love how it didn't seem like a bad idea to send her out there to go talk to them.
They did have to play up that money part of it, right? The fact that it was a threat because it's like, hey, you guys, if you run out of money, you clearly ripped somebody off for all this shit. You didn't just earn a bunch of money and come down south for fun. So there's like that underlying threat. Never fully gets paid off after that. The movie kind of goes from a gangster historical period piece, to more of a supernatural horror.
Yeah,
done by
movie.
what is it? Done by
From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn type of movie. You forget the economics of the South sharecropper system at this point.
Because they're vampires trying to eat you.
So Mary goes out to meet them. They're playing this really nice song. The white folks play some great music.
That one lady could sing.
Yeah, it was some bluegrass, I think.
Definitely bluegrass.
Yeah, some old school country music.
Old mountain.
It's not Irish music. It's
old mountain time.
Yeah, old. It's like Kentucky, old Kentucky type music. It's very American music at this point, but beautiful music. Haley Steinfeld joins them. They seem peaceful. They only seem like hippies.
Dude, they seem like definitely like 70s hippies.
Yeah, they got a hippie vibe at that point. So Haley Steinfeld, kind of tries to meet up with them, and they start getting a little bit menacing. She points her gun at them, and dumb enough to turn her back on them.
Look, again, she doesn't know they're vampires, but she believes, hey, I turn a gun on them. I have the high ground, but homegirl, never, ever, ever turn your back on people like that. That's messed up.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was her mistake. And we see a really cool action scene at this point where Remick flies at her.
Oh,
it's in the background.
Super creepy.
It's in the background, kind of blurry, which is good. It's clearly wire work, right? Some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type shit.
Lost Boys type action.
But because it's kind of out of focus in the back, and it's in the dark, it really enhances the kind of jump leap. The whole audience freaked out,
and it was silent. Like there was no noise, so you heard everyone go, "Oh no!" Like
the whole audience freaked out when the guy jumped. Like,
it was great.
It was one of the best. One of those days was a scare, but it's like one of the big thrilling kind of scary moments in the movie.
I'd say it's a legit scare because it elicited that response out of that'd be for me and the audience too.
Other horror movies would have gone more hard with it.
You would have played like a big piano,
and they would have had the guy like zoom, had like a fast forward or something.
It was like
this was a little more low key, but it was very effective.
Yeah, like he flies up and then we just quickly cut back to the party. Yeah. Like you don't even see what happens.
Yeah, very effective. But you know at this point though that Mary is fucked.
It's too late for Mary.
She obviously gets an easy invite because she was already part of the party.
Dude, she walks right next scene she's walking in.
Yeah, I mean they basically say, "Hey, can I come back in?" Of course. Like who's gonna say no?
We can't say no to you.
At that point, she goes up to Stack and gets real flirty with him.
Look,
real hot and heavy.
She puts the claws on him, and we're leading up to another, dare I say, iconic scene in the movie. But no, she puts her claws up in him.
I'd say iconic, but probably in a grosser way.
Infamous.
Yeah, more infamous than some of these other scenes. So at that, very quickly leads into I can't remember. Is Preacher Boy have sex with his girl before or after this?
I think it's before.
Preacher Boy had sex with Pearline before.
Yes.
And then this is the final sex scene in the movie where Mary and Stack go into their own hidden room.
Yeah, she just picks him up.
and go get hot and heavy. In the midst of this hot and heavy scene, we see that the vampires, when they turn more vampiric, they start forming
a drool, like
heavy drool.
Oh yeah, it's a tell.
Not just a little bit of saliva, but heavy, dog-like saliva.
It's kind of funny, they can't help it.
Yeah. So she starts drooling a little bit, and oh my god. You want to take it away, Cozy?
Yeah, so Haley Steinfeld's drooling. So we're like, oh, as the audience, we know that this is the tell of they're vampire. But Stack doesn't know this. He's like, this girl's crazy. So he's like, hey, Mary, hey, you're drooling. And she's like, oh, all this. And then Mary's like, do you want some? And Michael B. Jordan doesn't say nothing, but his eyes say it all. He's like, of course, I'm gross too. And so Mary proceeds to spit a really thick line of saliva into Stack's mouth it's supposed to be hot. Ryan Coogler, I guess, was going for this is hot, this is provocative, but It was shocking to say the least.
It's some Frank Reynolds shit, man. It's some like gross sex shit. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
She didn't just spit in his mouth. She like, it's like a whole ass loogie.
She honked a loogie in his mouth,
guys.
He was into it.
He was very into it. I mean, he was so horny he couldn't think straight at this point.
I think that could be something where, like, because vampires have almost like a trance-like powers over victims, so she had him do whatever she wanted.
That motherfucker was horny. No, let's just be honest.
Dude, the power of horn will make you do that.
Yeah, the guy was thinking with his dick at that point.
Oh, Stack
had some drinks. It definitely had a bad night. And so it's a funny moment too, where Preacher Boy sees them, kind of catches him in the act, and then he's I better leave him alone. This is their thing. And then a few minutes later, he has to go back for some. I can't remember why. I think Smoke tells him to call. Stack.
Yeah. He doesn't think he can go, but they're like, no, go in there. No, it's Slim, who's watching the door because Cornbread has left, tells Sammie, no, go in there. It's cool. Like, you can go in there and.
Yeah, Cornbread wants to go take a piss. Mm-hmm. So at that point, when he goes back in, it's now a less hot scene and more Haley Steinfeld killing,
munching on him, bro.
Munching on him, vampire style, on Stack.
It's shocking. It's actually very horrifying to see because this is the first time we're seeing an actual vampiric attack. Like, it's all off screen, but now we're seeing it happen. It's all out in the open now, and it's really, really jarring to see.
Absolutely. At this point, they kind of shoot at her a little bit.
Smoke just drops her.
She tells them they're going to kill them all.
Oh, yeah, she gets back up, but
we are going to kill them all, which is when they find out it's not just Haley Steinfeld. At that point, they think Stack is dead. They close and lock the room.
Really sad scene, too. Yeah.
Very sad scene. Smoke is obviously supremely devastated. This was their big night, the opening of their juke joint, the happiest night of their life. And then now his brother's dead.
Yeah, he said that's the best part of him. And that was a really, really touching line. Like, the best part of him is gone. And it's really sad. Yeah,
absolutely. And then at this point, kind of people start leaving the party a bit.
Yep, they send everyone home.
They start sending people home.
Which is kind of wild, but they don't know. They don't know what's happening.
They don't fully know what's going on. There's cars outside. They think everybody's going to go home. We see Cornbread in a funny scene while he's trying to piss.
Oh my God.
Get attacked by Remick. It's pretty funny. He just keeps having to stop pissing.
He's like mid-piss.
It's like some Scooby-Doo shit.
You hear a whisper, and then you see eyes in the dark like Scooby-Doo.
It's some Scooby-Doo ass shit, but it's funny. It's like the movie is funny. Like, even throughout the horror moments, it finds time to be funny. At this point, Cornbread tries to come back in. They don't let him. At this point, Annie, Smoke's wife, has kind of figured out that these guys seem to be vampires. She's not fully, but like she seems to have guessed. Especially since instead of just simply walking in, Cornbread goes like, "Yeah, so let me come in."
That's a hilarious scene too.
Yeah, but he keeps bitching about it. He's like, "Well, I'm being polite. That's why I don't want to just come in without asking."
But Annie's like, "But your big ass is coming in and out the whole day. Why can't you just walk up in here? Something's not right." Like, it was a great scene.
It's very funny. It's very funny. So it keeps going.
And then and it comes to a head where Cornbread's like, you know what? Give me my money. And you're like, all right, Smoke, be careful, but we don't trust him. And then lo and behold, Smoke goes to give Cornbread the money, and then Cornbread tries to bite him, and again. That's a great makeup effect of his blown open face with because Smoke shoots Cornbread in the face and Cornbread gets up, but his face is all just hamburger meat. It's great.
Yes, they do a great job of showing the vampires get shot up and then kind of reforming themselves at least somewhat. The makeup effects in this movie are fantastic.
Yep.
So at this point, they start planning on what to do with the vampires. They have a scene where Annie kind of goes over their weaknesses and what they could potentially do.
It's the classic weaknesses like garlic, sunlight, holy water.
Yes, they all get forced to eat a garlic clove.
That's a great sequence.
So to basically test if anybody's already a vampire on the inside.
Definitely an homage to John Carpenter's The Thing. There's a sequence where they have to test the blood. Definitely, I could see just little homages throughout the movie, but that was a definite great scene. Just hey. Tested everybody.
Yeah, everybody gets tested. We have obviously some hijinks of people bitching. He was like, "Oh, but it tastes nasty. I don't want to do this."
Slim being a jackass and tricking everyone into thinking he's like, "Oh, I'm fine."
Yeah. So it's just a funny scene. We see a funny scene too where they see somebody on the floor with what looks like blood. So they're like, oh well, this guy is dead or a vampire. So
We
they
don't know.
they assume he's a vampire, so they kick him out.
They just throw him out.
They just throw him out. It's like, okay, well, that way he won't turn into a vampire on the inside.
Yeah.
And then there's a funny scene later on where they found out that he was just passed out drunk and had broken a wine bottle. That's what looked like blood.
Kind of unfortunate.
They even try to rescue him, but he doesn't get in time before the vampires.
Cornbread spots him. And
before the vampires take him away. It was very funny.
Yeah.
Within this, too, Stack wakes up.
Yes.
Stack wakes up, and we have a great scene where the two brothers face off against each other. Stack, again, his base character is amplified. He's more wild, more erratic, angry,
Antsy,
And he tries to convince his brothers, hey, this is the shit we've been looking for. Fuck all this other shit. This is all nonsense. This is what we need.
And it's
you gotta come join me, brother.
It's kind of sad because the Stack we know is dead, but that's still Stack because whatever that is has Stack's memories, all that. It's speaking using Stack's voice, but Stack is gone. But like, it's really sad.
It's a trip because you still realize it's Stack.
It is. Yes.
It's still all his memory, but he has the memories of the other vampires too. It's a weird arrangement.
Yeah.
It's like not him and not him a little bit. And so Annie keeps telling, and he makes her basically Smoke promises, like, hey, whatever happens, if they get me, don't let me turn into a vampire. Make sure you like put a stake through my heart. Make sure you get me because it's not real. It's some undead shit. I don't want to be that. That's not for me. Right? And so at this point they kind of start prepping a little bit, trying to see what they do, but they're vastly outnumbered. The vampires are all on the outside. We see a great scene at this point. It's almost random, but it just fits so well with the musical elements of the movie, where we see the Irish jig scene.
Oh man, yes, this scene, the little river dance too,
like a river dance, Irish jig, like legit Irish music. I thought it was like they were singing in Gaelic for a little bit,
but they even had like Remix accent, but also the people singing that were turned also had accents. Yeah. It was a great melding of seeing Irish dancing and whatnot, but also black people also Irish, a melding of cultures.
Kind of partaking in it. Yeah. We see at this point kind of the promise of the vampires that for whatever they're doing, they seem to really be forming a family with each other.
Yeah.
The vampires also warn them at this point, like Stack warns Smoke that it's like, hey, this was all bullshit. The guy we brought this milk from, he's a KKK guy.
Yeah,
tomorrow morning he's coming in and burning the whole thing down and killing all of us.
It was a slaughterhouse.
We were never. We're not the first ones. Even this was never a thing where we're going to be free and have a long-term business. If it wasn't them, it was the gangsters that were going to come find us for stealing from them.
Yeah.
Something was always going to be someone. This is our liberty.
Yeah.
We can be immortal. We can be powerful. We can join this new family. So that's kind of the offer of the vampires.
I think Stack already was kind of beaten down by just his life and just his experiences, that he was more susceptible to this and was open and trying to get his. And he was saying to his brother, "Hey, I can't do this without you. There's no me without you. So you better join." But it's because he himself, as a character, has been through so much that like when he's given this opportunity at a new life, he's like, "Hell yeah, I'll take this, and I need my number one partner with me." So you can feel. Almost on his end, you almost want him to almost try and turn his brother, so he's not alone going into this.
Absolutely, it's heartbreaking.
It really is heartbreaking.
We see all this. They kind of plan a little bit, and then where they finally break through is Grace.
Oh, Grace.
Grace, the Chinese lady. They basically warn her, say, "Hey, you either invite us in, or we'll go get your daughter.
We're gonna eat Lisa.
Yeah, we're gonna go fuck up your daughter." And so she freaks out and she invites them in. She just yells, "Come in!" Gets the weapons. There's a big fight scene.
This scene was great.
Great big fight scene.
This was great.
She firebombs her husband.
Oh yeah, and stabs
Pretty
him.
much everybody dies at this point.
A lot of key characters die real quick.
Yeah, Pearline, Delta Slim,
Annie. Sadly, I was really upset about Annie's dying.
Yeah,
I thought she'd
of course Smoke follows through on his promise and stabs her with the stake.
It was freaking Stack that bit her. even, and like
Yep.
made him watch. It was like really, it was a lot of layers of sadness.
Absolutely. No, it's an intense scene. And so they're getting their ass kicked.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
The final kind of scene of the battle is that Smoke is fighting Stack. They're
Mano
like
a mano.
they're losing space. They have barely any space left, and then Remick hops up there.
Oh, that was a great scare too.
And
Yeah,
then Preacher Boy and Perline are kind of fighting Remick, and then Perline gets bitten by
Yep.
Remick as well. So everything seems to be going about to end.
Tell Sammie to run, Sammie, get out of here.
Yeah, Preacher Boy jumps down, and Remick gets after him. At that
was
point,
a great scene.
Again, Remick wants Preacher Boy specifically. He
Yeah.
wants the music. Basically, his goal is for him to use the music to bring back his
ancestors,
his other lost
loved ones,
ancestors,
yeah.
right? The other loved ones he lost that he remembers.
Yeah, he's able to pierce that veil between this world and the next, and Remy sees that and wants to use him as almost like a little battery or gateway to bring his people around.
His loved ones back,
Yeah.
the family he misses.
Yeah.
We see this very impactful scene where the last thing Preacher Boy thinks to do is just do the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven.
Which usually works in these movies against the undead and
Sometimes
vampires.
it does,
Yeah.
and then instead the vampires join in.
Really creepy too.
They all
walk
join
in
in.
and saying
And we
it.
find out, again, this movie has a complex relationship with religion.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of praises it in a way, but it also shows it as almost kind of a system of
Oppression. Yeah.
Yes, where they say, "Oh yeah, the
Assimilation.
the people who destroyed my town, destroyed my people, they used that prayer too."
Yep.
I'll admit though, I did find the words comforting.
Yeah. Like it doesn't. Hey man, that don't work on me, bro. Like
Again,
yeah.
you see the duality of it, where it's like he almost enjoys that prayer. He sees the optimism and the love present in that prayer, but he also sees that some of the people using that prayer are evil fucks who are abusing other people instead of following what the message of the prayer is supposed to be.
It's again you seeing how Christianity has been used to do god awful things and throughout history, and like that's one of them, and it's had that effect on him. So to see him kind of reclaim that thing that was used to bring him so much despair, to reclaim that against our hero was very effective on Remick's part.
Absolutely. At this point, what do you call? Preacher Boy steals the guitar. He just slams Remick with
man.
it. I think there's an implication that there's this big, cool-looking metal plate that maybe it's silver.
It's definitely silver, and it's burning him. So again, they're expanding the lore to say, hey, silver also works.
And they did let him know that silver was effective on vampires.
And it got again a great use of makeup. It gets lodged in Remick's head. And he has to pull it out.
In the midst of this, we also see Smoke overpower Stack.
Yep.
And what looks like is Smoke killing him, stabbing him with a stake.
Yeah.
And then at this point, next thing we see, right after the guitar gets smashed into Remick's head.
And before you get to that though, in that scene, because I love just their lines, because Smoke tells his brother, hey, I was always supposed to be protecting you or whatever, and then Stack just replies, you always did. Early in the movie, it's revealed that Smoke and Stack's father was abusive to them and really beat up Stack really bad one night, to the point where Smoke, enraged, had to kill their dad and like got rid of him. And it's always been a thing that Sammie has heard this whole time, but wasn't old enough to hear. So hearing that full circle, like, no, I've been looking out for you since we were kids. Like, of course, I'm not like I got to do what I got to do. And it was just very, very impactful to see that, because they kind of leave it ambiguous as to what happens.
Devastating.
Yeah,
It's devastating having to think that he has to kill his brother.
His twin.
But he manages to come out at that point, jump down, and he sticks a stake in Remick's heart.
Final blow before he can kill Sammie.
Final blow, and then shortly after that, the sun breaks through. All the other vampires are devastated.
Yeah, because they also can feel the pain of their
but they
leader.
also just love Remick.
Yeah.
All right? They have a clear love. They really are a family.
They are, yeah.
All right? They're devastated to hear him.
They feel the pain in two ways.
Yeah,
always
the
in one.
emotional pain as well as the psychic pain, the physical pain.
Right.
So they're all just basically standing there. They all stop attacking, and they're all sitting ducks for when the sun comes up.
Does it ever?
And just torches all of them.
This again, I've seen vampires disintegrate in sunlight and throughout all kinds of film. But again, Coogler did a way of making this unique. It was almost like a fire tornado, and like Remick is like still moving it again. He made it look beautiful, and even how the other ones disintegrated.
He almost made it look like less of a vampire, traditional vampire disintegration, and more like a demonic exorcism.
Yeah, okay, that's a good way
like
to put
the
it.
Fiery way it's
a demon going away.
They all set ablaze. There's some demonic, satanic elements to Remick specifically.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Right.
His final form was like kind of monstrous a little bit with the teeth and all that.
Yeah, with the teeth and the red eyes. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. So at this point, it's just Smoke and Preacher Boy left. And Smoke tells Preacher Boy to get away. Just run, because he knows the KKK folks are coming.
Yeah.
Right?
And he even tells Sammie, hey, put that guitar down. It's brought you nothing but see what's happened after this night. Even he kind of like Sammie's dad is telling him, hey, put that guitar down. He's always been told, put that thing you love doing the most, put it down. See what it's brought you, all this pain and heartache, put it down. Like it was kind of wild hearing that too at the end.
Absolutely. No, he gets heavily encouraged, and I mean, but just by the aspects of what happened.
Of course, I don't blame Smoke for telling him that.
But yeah, so he gets away. He goes back to the church. That's when we see that opening scene from the movie.
He comes back in full circle.
And then in between that, we know that Smoke and Stack were World War I veterans, right? So basically, he has a bunch of guns.
Big arsenal
on him. So he gets in wait, Rambo style, waits for the white folks to show up, and kills the fuck out of them.
And yes, he was lying in the beginning. That guy was bullshitting. They were Klan members. They definitely were Klan members showing up to go and raise that whole building down. And and that Smoke had something for them when they showed up.
Yeah, he managed to give him plenty of smoke.
Most definitely. Yeah, and Rambo was definitely it, because he even gets a grenade throw up in there. He did all that.
Very Rambo-esque scene.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, he does get shot. Not fatally at first, but like with the main white guy that we saw at the beginning of the movie, still alive, kind of pleading for his life. And then we see a scene where he's still alive, but he starts to see a vision.
He's drifting away.
Drifting and seeing a vision of Annie and her child.
Oh, it's really beautiful scene.
Their baby child. And he just comes to peace with it. At this point, he's even taking off the charm.
Yeah, he removed the mojo charm.
They removed the mojo charm.
Do you think that's why he got shot? Because he removed it right before that firefight.
The implication is yes. I think the implication is that he wanted to kill the KKK, but he no longer cared about
what
being
happened
protected.
to him. Okay.
Right? He was happy to join his wife in the afterlife.
She did tell him before she gave him this speech about the stake, like, hey, I got somebody waiting for me, and when I get there, we'll be waiting for you too. Almost like she almost kind of knew like what was going to happen.
Yeah, it seemed like it, or at least she was prepared for the possibility. Yeah. And then so that's the end of Smoke. And then, Preacher Boy goes back to the church. The scene we've seen, the dad tries to take the guitar, and he says no.
Yeah, we don't see it. He says,
we don't see it, but then we see him afterwards driving away from the church.
Holding it.
Still holding the guitar.
It's a really great scene.
Clear from the visual storytelling that, he chose to continue the music.
Yeah, and it's I think it's a thing that I think all of us, no matter whether you're like a preacher's child or whether or not you're just a child of any parent that tries to put their aspirations or put whatever their views on you and you want to do your own thing. I think we all feel that way. So finally seeing him go through that whole night of terror but come out the other side, not only changed but also still holding on to, still even stronger now to what he loved and believed in now, even more so because he's been through it all and it's still there.
Had every reason to give it up,
and it even saved his life. That's what he used to hit Remick, and so it
had every reason to give it up. But he had just too much love for the blues, for the music.
Oh yeah,
for what he experienced,
for the culture
before everything went wrong. So at that point, credits start rolling.
We think it's over. Yeah. Well,
actually, we see a jump forward like 50, 60 years.
To 60 years, so 1992 now.
Yeah, 60 years. We see old Sammie. He's actually played by a real blues
buddy guy.
Buddy guy.
I'm not your buddy guy. I'm not your guy, buddy.
He must have watched that South Park episode and freaked out. But I'm not your guy, friend. But yeah, we see them playing in a nice kind of jazz club looking thing.
Perline's actually named it after his.
That's a good point.
His lost love. Yeah.
After his lost love, at that point, the credits are playing.
Folks are leaving the theater now. Folks are like,
while the music is going on, great music, too.
Excellent music,
great trailer or end credit music, and then the mid credit scene is, I feel like, the real ending of the movie, where basically Stack and Mary. Come back, and it turns out they got away.
Yeah.
Mary ran away in the middle of the fight when she started freaking out, and it turns out that Smoke let Stack survive as long as he promised him not to touch Sammie.
Let him live a long life and just
let Lammy live his life and never bother him. And so they kept that promise.
He did.
And it's clear they've been living their life. They still look young, obviously.
And his Bill Cosby sweater and Fresh Prince haircut.
Yeah, they got that early African Bambaataa rap type get up.
90s.
Yeah, early 90s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s. This is like before Dr. Dre blew up the scene.
This definitely before the Chronic.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe a year.
Right around that time.
Yeah, around the Chronic.
Right. 92, right? So right when the Chronic was coming out. But just the vibe he was having, it was like African revival type.
I loved it. He even had he had the a little he had the knuckle jewelry that had Stack in gold on it. Yeah, just flashy.
Great. Perfect visuals for his character.
It made sense that he would the evolution 6 years later would be that if you saw him in the 30s. So yeah,
absolutely. They even offer at this point to Sammie that they'll turn him into a vampire and give him immortality.
Kind of sniffs on Sammie and notices that he's about to die soon.
Yeah, a little bit older. Well, not a little bit, quite a bit older. And then Sammie decides no, he's at peace, I guess.
He's enough of this place.
Yeah, he's at peace with what he's experienced, and obviously he has a good thing going. We don't really see if he has any family or anything.
Doesn't say, but I don't think so.
They might. I don't think it's important. Yeah. It's the main thing. And then, we do have an end credit scene where it's just another great music. Music.
And before that, like, Stack just says, "Hey, can you play me something?" And it's revealed that. And so Smoke told Sammie before he went off that guitar was actually their dead father's guitar.
Yes.
And so at the end, Stack says, "Hey, Sammie, can you play us a tune?" So it's really cool, kind of ending of the loop where Stack's able to say goodbye to his cousin, but also say goodbye almost to his father as his cousin plays on this father's guitar.
His brother,
a lot of stuff.
They both say that up until things went horribly wrong, that was the happiest and freest they ever felt. Yeah. That's the theme of the movie at the end of the day.
Freedom.
The freedom, the joy that you feel, the transformative and transportive elements of music.
Yes.
Right? The way that they were able to all come together, not just with their fellow townsmen, but, from everyone from African tribesmen to 90s rappers to funky musicians,
break dancers,
everyone could have had a drum line in there.
Yeah, they could have.
It's they could have so many things, frankly, but it's just that incredible communal aspect of music.
Yeah.
It's really the theme of the movie, and just the beauty, the memories, just how enjoyable, really, it is to listen and come together and enjoy live music with your folks.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
So, that's pretty much the movie. So, I think we both loved the movie.
Oh my God. I think it's the best movie of the year so far.
Yes. My favorite movie of the year so far.
I also think this is going to be a movie that will be relevant 10, 15 years from now, not just with its themes, but the filmmaking and just the stuff that they wanted to do in this movie. I think
incredible cinematography. Yeah. Really pops in IMAX. There's a couple of times where they changed the
aspect ratio.
They get bigger for some of the big action scenes.
Yeah, that final action sequence when the vampire storm into the barn.
Yeah, the screen gets bigger, and it's such an awesome visual experience to see. Really, and not just the not just the visuals, but the sound. The sound is so much better in IMAX than you're going to get in a digital random theater. I mean, you can hear the individual beats playing around.
Every steak stab, every footprint, every bite into flesh.
The
like
music,
you really get it.
You can really feel that guitar. Even the banjo, the violins. You can feel the singing,
harmonica. Yeah.
It's
the stomping of feet.
It's a movie that deserves to be experienced in a communal setting on the biggest screen you can get on it.
It's an auditory visual experience and treat, really it is. And I just love that. You know, in this day and age of remakes and sequels, this is an original film that Ryan Coogler bet on himself to do. You know, he just got a really, really big studio to distribute it, but he made this with his own production studio. He kind of fought the studio system. He's now scared everybody because now he has the rights to this movie in 25 years. So he's shaken up a lot of the status quo with movies, and it made close to. It's made $87 million so far on a $90 million budget.
It's going to clear $200 million.
Oh yeah.
No, it's going to be a very successful movie. The word of mouth is tremendous.
Yeah.
So that's going to help a lot. I think at this point, Ryan Coogler, especially teamed up with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, they've been.
I don't want to obviously put him on the level of something like Scorsese.
People are calling him that in terms of not quality, but just that team up.
This is a team up. They're not at that level quality wise.
They're getting there.
But it's not that their movies have been bad.
Oh, of course not.
Whereas Scorsese's are maybe 10 out of 10s. These are good, solid mid-9s. You know?
That's still great, though. For
now, this is he is a name to watch. Like Greta Gerwig and like Christopher Nolan, he's one of the directors and one of the auteurs at this point. Where
Denis Villeneuve is up there, too.
Villeneuve, where if they're putting something out, their name alone.
Yeah, day one viewing.
Their name alone entices audiences to come to the theater.
Yep.
Right? The fact that they went big with the marketing as far as the IMAX, the effects, the people involved, just added an extra element of getting not just, the black culture folks who are obviously going to see this movie and the horror folks who might be curious, but some of the cinema folks.
Yeah, cinephiles are up in here watching this in droves. Everyone, this movie, definitely it's a for us by us from a black perspective type movie, but what Ryan Coogler does so well with all his movies is he has something for everyone that can.
He has something for a wide audience. He's it's unapologetically black.
Still stays black, but you can still come and enjoy it.
But it's not.
No, off-putting. It's
off-putting.
Not.
There's
It doesn't alienate.
It's not alienating. It's not imposing. Yeah. Right? You can get into it.
Yeah,
right?
It's a big, warm, fun party with vampires
Greta Gerwig,
in it.
Where it's like her movies are meant to be for women, but not exclusively.
Yeah, there's something
right.
for
Barbie has plenty of stuff for everyone.
Yeah,
plenty of her movies do. So now as far as criticisms, I do have a few. Main one really is just the main one. It's just that from a narrative perspective, the writing was a little loose. I don't want to say bad. It's just a lot of threads were picked up and then not really completed or just kind of dropped off.
Off camera you're talking about that. So which ones didn't
just
work
a
for
couple
you?
things. Like for instance, they had the whole thing where they messed with the gangsters and they're not making enough money and all this, and they just all kind of end up becoming irrelevant.
Right. I guess once a vampire showed up, whatever thread was kind of going was kind of thrown out the window.
It was kind of like for me to be a gangster movie. One of them might have been cool. One of the Remick had turned out to be one of the gangsters. You know what I mean? But no, it just kind of got dropped off.
Yeah.
Same with Pearline. There was a whole thing where she has a husband and she shouldn't be getting with Preacher Boy and all this stuff. But they never really showed their husband. They never paid off any drama to that. She died a little bit unceremoniously towards the end, and then the movie just kind of forgot about her after that.
I'll agree with how she was kind of done away with unceremoniously because they could have done some stuff. I more so think that she was just more so to be that not femme fatale, but that seduction and temptation for a young up and coming artist like Sammie, to where it was fun. It was almost like a funny kind of beat, like her husband, but he's not coming. Like he didn't even come show up at the party that night. She kind of came alone.
No, that's fair. It just seems like a thread that was just dropped off.
Yeah. And picked up and then dropped again towards the end. So.
Yeah. So again, several even with Haley Steinfeld, she comes back in at the end, but the whole thing with her ma and how they don't show up to her ma's funeral and the drama between their characters, that once he becomes a vampire, just becomes a little bit cut short for the horror aspects and the action aspects to kick in. It's not like a big deal. It doesn't like totally collapse the movie,
right?
But it just the plotting wasn't as sharp, as tight as some of the other elements. Even some of the symbolic elements, like the fact that they were vampires, didn't matter other than just specifying what the rules were for dealing with them.
Right, it could have been werewolves,
yeah,
could have been zombies.
Been werewolves, zombies. It could have been I don't know, or like magicians. I don't know. It could have been a bunch of different things, and most of the movie would have ended up the same, right? Just the fact that it was vampires just felt like, I like vampires, so let's just put them in. It didn't have any for how much symbolism the rest of the movie had. I kind of kept looking for some kind of symbolic element to the vampires, and I don't know that there were.
I think for me, the symbolism with the vampires was showing how, despite the real horrors of racism and and just actual horrors that they're put upon them, this other horror, this supernatural horror, almost doesn't seem so bad. It's like almost an afterthought. Like, we can definitely kill a vampire with stakes and whatnot, but how do we get through to a clans member?
That is an interesting point of it. That's
kind of what I got from it.
Because the villains were clearly the KKK.
Yes,
and
not the vampires.
Think, the fact that Remick was an Irish guy, we didn't quite talk about this during the movie, but this was purposeful, I feel like, by Ryan Coogler to make the closest things to allied non-black folks they had. One, they had the 1%, the one drop with Haley Steinfeld. Yeah. The Chinese couple,
the Chinese family.
Again, if you know the 1930s, you know the history. Maybe you watch Shanghai Noon. You know that random name drop right there. You know that Chinese folks were brought in to work the railroad
and the Irish.
Brutal conditions. They were not treated as equals.
Yeah.
The Irish, even though they were white, they were brought in to be practically indentured servants. Catholics were not treated as equal. They weren't treated as bad as black folks, but it was not supremely far off.
It was a shared experience of oppression and having a boot just put on your neck by whoever. That was shared by all.
It's very telling that Ryan Coogler devotes an entire sequence to a river dance with an Irish jig at a centerpiece in a movie that's unapologetically black like this.
Yeah.
And he's trying to show it's like, hey, there is a relationship there. There is a shared suffering there.
Yeah, like because Remick wasn't down with the Klan either. He was like, I'm going to go over there and kill them too.
The real oppressors are the rich folks, are the Klan, are the racists. Even these evil vampires, they're misguided. And we don't necessarily agree with them, but they have much more in common with us than these other humans, right? Yeah. Non-supernatural monsters.
But I think also what's kind of great is that we've seen it play out in real life. Those vampires also kind of represent a kind of, it's... They teach this whole we're all communal, all this, but be careful of them, be wary because they're dangerous too. They also don't have your best interest.
They're communal as long as you join up with them.
Yeah, they don't exactly. You can't be individual, black people. You still got to join us. But hey, look, we're not with that. So be wary of people too that say this kind of like kumbaya BS that Malcolm X himself kind of saying, hey. Don't fall for that. So it's kind of cool. Also, they have that other layer of the vampire saying,
"Hey, that layer."
Yeah, like, oh no, we're not like them.
We can present a lot like you. We can play your music. We'll help you spend money. And at the end of the day,
we're gonna bite you and turn you.
If you play nice and do the right thing, we will treat you as family. We don't think of you as inferior. But we're in charge.
But abide by our rules.
But we're in charge.
So the black people are like, all right, how's this different than slavery? You see, it's like it comes back to like, all right,
it's better. It's better.
In a way, I guess.
I mean, Stack obviously happily becomes a vampire and tries to encourage his brother.
There'll always be some that'll join and try to get you to come over. Yeah.
Again, there's some elements. They have power. They have community. There's some elements, but it's not that true freedom.
Yeah.
It's not that true freedom that Smoke wanted.
And that's why I love this. I love the scene where Remick was like, hey, just give us Sammie. And Sammie was going to give himself up, but like Slim was like, no, Sammie's ours. You can't have him. He's ours. And it kind of like double speak, like, no, you can't have him. He's our family. But no, Sammie is part of our community. He's this magical musician in our community that's here to serve us and build us up, you can't have him. And that always happens when this great big beacon that black people put up, whether it be music or whatever, people always come by and like moths to try and either take it down or steal it or make it their own. So I love that they're fighting against Remick on that level too, to preserve their culture in that juke joint.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Listen, I love the movie. I have some nitpicks.
Yeah,
obviously.
the one nitpick I had too, it's a little small one, but I agree with your nitpicks. But another one I'll have is just the music, as great as it was, it kind of sort of was, I'm like, all right, pick a lane, movie, because are you a musical? I know musicals, they're not singing to push the narrative, but at some points there was a lot of straight up musical numbers, which didn't bother me, but I kind of it felt kind of took me out a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
The pacing sometimes felt a little off.
Yeah.
The pacing sometimes felt a little off. I love the musical numbers so much.
Me too, I did.
That I was just vibing along with the movie. Listen, this movie is like 100 out of 10 vibes. Like, it's just such an enjoyable movie to experience, right? If you want to say it doesn't have the sharpest plotting ever, as I just said, then sure. But I mean, not every movie needs to, It's like people who complain about a Christopher Nolan movie because the emotional core of the movie is kind of lacking. Like, yeah, the Christopher Nolan does have lacking emotional cores in his movie.
He's not his best, yeah.
But he's a virtuoso at every other aspect of filmmaking, so it's like...
And we can celebrate those that he's good at. So.
If everything is incredible and one thing is bad, then it's still an incredible movie, in my opinion.
Of course.
Yeah. It's just not the best movie ever. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture.
I don't know. I can see this. If it depends on what comes out later this year, but I can definitely see this movie sticking around and staying in people's minds and in the conversation towards the end of the year.
It helps that the memes have been on point.
On point memes, bro. Fire memes.
The visuals, the music, the soundtrack to this movie is amazing.
Yeah, love it. Gordon again. So it's always been Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, and the music guy Ludwig Göransson, who's been just part. Ludwig Göransson is the person that kind of breathes that life into Ryan Coogler's movies because of his music and his adept ear for just putting in unique sounds. He's amazing.
He's like Swedish or something.
Yeah, he's he's rather young. He's maybe not a couple years older than we are. He's amazing.
Kind of crazy looking, all tatted up and
he definitely has a look. I want to pull up a picture of good old Ludwig. Yeah, he has this great long, gorgeous hair. He looks like a guy that would make crazy sounding music in a sound booth. Yeah.
He looks like a rock star.
Yeah, shout out to Ludwig, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely amazing. It might be his best work yet, and that's saying something.
I think Black Panther is still his best musical work, but my goodness,
I put this above Black Panther for now.
Man, this might end up being better, but maybe for now I want to still.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but Black Panther had some exceptional music. Yeah, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, but shout out to Ludwig, man.
But so overall, must see movie.
Please
try to go check it out while there's still time. Thunderbolts comes out next week, so that's the end of the IMAX run as far as this movie is concerned.
Let's see it.
Hopefully, this is one of those movies that gets a big second run.
Definitely gets a re-release.
It's gonna get a re-release when Oscars come out.
Yeah,
I can't imagine this movie, even if it's only so that the Oscars don't want to feel racist. It'll get one of the top 10 best pick movies.
It'll get the Barbie treatment. I see this doing what Barbie did, where a lot of people, like, the word of mouth on it did such a great job. Like, all that, it stayed in the conversation. I see this being one of those that they just keep, in the conversation.
I think it'll hurt some people, the genre parts of it, the horror aspects of it. There's some people who just hate horror for whatever reason. And I've actually seen a few arguments that the first half of the movie is impeccable, and that once you get to the vampire killing stuff, again, you just lose a lot of the plot threads from the beginning of the movie in favor of more of the action horror elements to it. It's been a critique I've seen a few people put up online.
Yeah, I can see that.
I enjoyed the horror. I love horror movies.
Me too.
A good monster movie is excellent. And again, just the Irish jig, the music. Man, them showing up with a little dance number, playing banjo and twanging away at the violin. like Fiddler. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Every character had a chance to really to truly shine in this movie, and Ryan Coogler does a good job of directing his actors. And like, oh yeah, I say he's an actor's director because he's not an actor though, but he understands the importance of conveying feeling and bringing a certain kind of thing with you into a scene, and he definitely communicates that to everyone he works with, and comes out on screen with all of his actors. So definitely love this movie. Definitely it's a must see. Definitely hope that it gets some kind of award consideration at the end of the year. But yeah, Ryan Coogler, whatever you do next, man, I'm
song
totally
and best original soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
better be in the bag.
I want to see him get recognized for this, and I want to see what he does next. Like
cinematography,
truly.
at least.
Yep.
At least a nom too, I would guess.
I think so.
I hope so. But yeah, no, amazing movie. Please go watch it. This is the kind of movie that needs to be supported, so we get more of these types of movies.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it very much. And any nitpicks y'all heard, it's just like calling a 10 out of 10 movie a 9.5 out of 10. Please don't act like this is a bad movie, or like it doesn't even have a bad plot. It's just like me finding something to critique about the movie. But yeah, so time for that plug of the week.
Plug of the week.
All right, I'll kick it off since you usually go first, Kosi. My plug of the week, more Apple TV, baby.
Oh, man, let's hear it.
I am going to plug the show Studio.
Man, you talked about this show.
Yes, it is a Seth Rogen-led show. The concept of the show is basically, he's a studio head who likes making movies, likes making artsy movies and stuff, and then it's just like the comedy hijinks around that, right? Mm-hmm. The coolest part of the show to me is really well shot, and like the cinematography, the acting, everything. The production values are off the charts for something like this. This has a similar vibe sometimes, like setup and humor wise, or something like The Office. Okay. But the production values are way higher than something like that would be. Two, it's one of these shows that has a lot of famous people coming on to play fictional versions of themselves, right? So you'll see an episode where Martin Scorsese comes on to try to get a movie made, then he cries when they like steal his movie and buy the rights from him without letting him make it. It was supposed to be like his last big movie. We see a scene where Anthony Mackie is like coming in and like all suave and all charming to everyone, and then as soon as like the director's out of sight, he's like, yo, what the fuck, we gotta get this guy, like we gotta get this guy in line, this is stupid as hell. A lot of this stuff we see, what do you call it, the director who did Beautiful Mind, the redhead dude.
Ron Howard. Ron Howard, yes.
Ron Howard. We see him just shit on Seth Rogen at one point, like completely insult him for being a stupid studio head.
Oh man!
Like it's just that kind of humor. It's just that kind of vibe, and yeah, just really well shot, really well made. There's an episode called The Wonder that's about the difficulties of them filming a Wonder and how Seth Rogen's character fucks it all up by trying to be too artsy and give notes and stuff. And then the episode is shot as a Wonder.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like a one shot. It's like a one shot episode. The whole thing is obviously they do some tricks. So it's real one shot. But still,
that's cool.
It's that production value that's much higher than you would see in this type of comedies usually. That makes it stand out. And the fact that again, it's like if you like movies, if you like the making of movies, the backgrounds of it, actors' names, directors' names, this is for you. I feel like this will be the humor and the things you're seeing will be cool to watch.
All right.
So yeah, highly recommend it.
All right. So this is the Studio on Apple TV.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Juan. Mm-hmm. Well, for my plug of the week, I've been in a kind of a jazz mood ever since with Sinners. So I want to plug the Miles Davis album Relaxin'. So Miles Davis is a world legendary,
absolute legend
in the genre, and it was tough to choose one, but I wanted to choose this one because I feel it's one of the more obscure ones. But there's a definite track on there called "You're My Everything." I don't think it's one of those where you'll think, oh, did some rapper sample this? Probably, because it's sampling has been a thing in rap music, not just with Kanye, but other artists.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I missed sample heavy days.
Right? Yeah, like it's an art form to take either a piano chord and loop it or whatever, some crazy ones. So the track "You're My Everything" by Miles Davis is a highlight on the Relaxing album by him. Again, he is a incredible artist, Miles Davis. If you haven't heard of him, I don't know, some people haven't, it's 2025, but he's an artist that you definitely should look up, and you can definitely hear the influences of other artists. Speaking of sending influence into the future of other artists, someone like Anderson .Paak, someone that definitely was inspired by Miles Davis, someone like Thundercat. Like a lot of these artists, Flying Lotus, Miles Davis was kind of the genesis of where they found a lot of their sounds. So again, the Relaxing album by the great Miles Davis
Flying Lotus, baby.
Yeah, Flying Lotus.
That's another plug of the year.
Oh my gosh! If you guys haven't, Flying Lotus is
just look for Flying Lotus on Spotify.
Yes, he's an I think incredible doesn't even starts to even describe him as an artist. He not only makes music, he makes TV, movies. He is an artist for his time. So yeah, love Flylo. But Miles is kind of the genesis of all that. So yeah, I just want to plug Miles Davis's album Relaxin'. That's my plug of the week.
All right. Well, no, awesome plug, man. Awesome plug.
Yeah, man, dude, this has been great. Thanks for this review. Thank you, Juan, for showing up to review the movie Sinners. And I want to thank you, listeners, and to our lovely listeners. You can find us on all social media platforms and podcasting platforms. Just search for It Was Mooney to access all of our content. But once again, I've been your host, Kosi, and I'm joined always by Wani B. Until next time, guys, peace.
Peace.